Her name was Amina, a quiet 17-year-old girl who had grown up in the bustling town, where status, appearances, and wealth ruled every interaction. From a young age, she had been mocked for her weight. Teachers whispered, relatives sighed, and her classmates snickered at her the moment she entered a room. No matter how kind, gentle, or brilliant she tried to show herself to be, everyone only saw her as the fat girl. Her parents, embarrassed by how society judged them, began to treat her like an inconvenience. They believed her body was punishment from fate. When Amina accidentally broke an expensive vase during a family gathering, though it was simply an accident, her relatives acted as if she had committed a crime. Her uncle, who was always cruel in speech, declared that she was shameful, wasteful, and undisciplined. Instead of defending her, her parents bowed their heads and allowed the community to decide her fate. In their town there was a strange, harmful custom. When someone was considered a burden or needed discipline, they were sent away to live with the poor, who worked the fields, as if hardship was supposed to change them. The elders decided that Amina would be given to a farmer in a remote village. Let her learn how to work. Let her learn humility, they said. No one cared how she felt. Her eyes burned with humiliation as she was packed off like a burden, not a daughter. The farmer's home was far, beyond the dusty roads, past the green stretches of crop fields and into the quiet hills. The villagers spoke his name with a mixture of fear and respect. Baba Ibrahim, they said. He was old, stern-faced, and seemed to carry the strength of mountains in his posture. Amina arrived trembling, expecting punishment, cruelty, maybe even starvation. But when the farmer opened his door, he did not scowl. He studied her a moment, his eyes deep and observant. "Come in," he said simply. His voice was rough like stone, yet carried a warmth she hadn't heard in years. The home was small but clean. She was given food, not scraps, but a warm plate of stew. She waited for insults. None came. Days passed. Baba Ibrahim gave her tasks, not to humiliate her, but to teach her. Feeding the chickens, gathering water, taking slow walks through the field. When she struggled because of her weight, he did not shout. He adjusted the task to her pace. "Strength is not built in a day," he told her. She had never heard such patience before. She began observing him more closely. Though dressed in simple clothes, villagers treated him with extraordinary respect, bowing, greeting him with sincerity. He often sat quietly with ledgers and maps, studying land plots and distributions. One evening, when she gathered enough courage, she asked, "Why does everyone listen to you?" He smiled the smallest smile. "This land, these hills, these farms, I own them." Amina froze. The world seemed to tilt. The man everyone believed to be a mere poor farmer owned thousands of acres stretching beyond what the eye could see. He supplied grain to entire regions. He was wealthy beyond imagination, but lived simply. "Why?" she asked. "Because wealth is not for showing," he replied. "It is for building." His words pierced something inside her. For the first time, someone did not measure her by appearance or value in society. She worked beside him, listened to him, and slowly began to feel a strange new feeling growing in her chest: self-worth. Baba Ibrahim noticed it too. "They sent you here as punishment," he said one night as they watched the sunset over the fields. "But I do not punish. I cultivate land and people." Amina looked down at her hands, rougher now, stronger. "Do you think I can change?" she whispered. "Child," he said, "you are already changing." Slowly, her steps grew steadier, her breath lighter, her laughter, something forgotten, returned piece by piece. But far away, in her old town, rumors stirred. People began hearing whispers that the poor farmer was not poor at all, that the girl they cast away might return, not broken, but transformed. And envy began to rise, because people who mistreat others never expect them to rise again. They want their cruelty to remain unquestioned. But life had different plans for Amina. As time passed, Amina's world blossomed in ways she never thought possible. She woke at dawn, walked the fields where sunlight kissed the early morning mist, and learned how the earth breathed beneath her feet. Baba Ibrahim taught her how to plant seeds, trim branches, rotate crops, and understand the rhythm of nature, patience, effort, respect. Each movement strengthened her not only physically but emotionally. She began to feel her body not as something to be punished for, but as something capable, powerful, and worthy of care. People in the village had at first watched her with curiosity, some with pity, some with quiet doubt. But as weeks became months, they saw her transformation and treated her with genuine kindness. Children ran to greet her. Women waved as she passed. Men nodded respectfully. She was no longer the obese girl or the burden. She was Amina, the girl who worked the fields with dignity and heart. One afternoon, Baba Ibrahim invited her to accompany him to the town market. She hesitated, fearing judgment, but he insisted with steady calmness. When they arrived, faces turned, whispers started, but Amina kept her chin up. She remembered what she had learned. One must not shrink to fit the expectations of those who never tried to understand them. They sold grain, so much grain that market merchants bowed before Ibrahim. Negotiating with humility, Amina carried the ledger, calculated weights, organized sacks. People were stunned. She handled business like someone trained for years. Confidence radiated in every movement. Among the crowd, however, a familiar face appeared, her cousin Samira, shocked and pale. She ran home and brought the news. Amina is not suffering, she is thriving. And soon her parents, relatives, and townsfolk who had discarded her came to visit the village. They expected to see a humiliated, broken girl. Instead, they found her standing strong beside Baba Ibrahim, helping farmers distribute crops for the upcoming season. Her parents stared at her, unsure how to speak. The same uncle who had called her shameful tried to act kind, pretending he had always cared. But Amina simply looked at them, not with anger, but with clarity. "I learned something here," she said calmly. "People do not become worthy when others approve of them. They are worthy always." Her words were like thunder. The villagers nodded. Even Baba Ibrahim smiled proudly beside her. Her parents, ashamed but finally awakened, apologized, not perfectly but sincerely. And Amina forgave them, not for their sake but for her own peace. Then something remarkable happened. Baba Ibrahim announced he was retiring and had chosen someone to continue managing his lands. Gasps echoed everywhere. Everyone assumed it would be one of his distant relatives or wealthy partners. But he turned toward Amina. "This land needs a heart that understands. Pain and growth," he said. "You were given to me as punishment, but I give you this as a beginning." Tears spilled down her face. Never in her life had someone believed in her more than she believed in herself. She accepted, trembling, humbled, and transformed. Over the next years, she became a leader, fair, wise, compassionate. She hired workers from poor families, paid them fairly, and helped their children attend school. She held women's gatherings to teach them financial independence. She encouraged others who were mocked or dismissed for their appearance or circumstances. Amina turned her pain into a path for others to walk through. And soon, people began telling a new story, one that reached towns, cities, and far beyond. There was once a girl people tried to discard, but she became someone the world could no longer ignore. Her life became a reminder. You cannot measure a person by what the world labels them. True worth grows quietly, like seeds beneath the soil, rising only when given love, patience, and light. And to everyone listening now, never allow others to decide your value. You are not defined by your weight, your struggles, your past, or your mistakes. You are defined by how you rise, how you choose to love yourself, how you choose to grow, even when no one believes you can. Your story is not over. You are still becoming.